inside this video we're going to talk about better ball striking, and the way that we're going to get that is by understanding the club shaft has to swing more on plane in the through swing, if you like swinging the hand left. And we'll use Andrew as an example, because what was basically happening with Andrew's swing is the club would get caught a little under plane and he'd swing too much above plane. Now what this essentially means, if I just use a red stick here for my alignment stick, I've obviously got my Swing Buddy plane tool there, and I'm just going to position this right to represent plane. And what happens, you see, is if you shift the plane too much to the right, okay, hopefully as you guys can see, the low point starts to come a little early. But also if you're swinging too much to the right, this is why you'll have tendencies to stand up and then get a little bit too flippy coming in towards the impact. And that's what was happening. So particularly with Andrew's longer clubs, what was happening was that he'd be a little susceptible to getting a bit hooky. And the problem was, what Andrew was doing to rectify that problem would be he'd aim further right and he'd get more flippy and more sort of stuck. So the first thing that we did inside the session was just, open up the body. Okay, start to look at it differently, start to kind of feel like we're playing a little bit more of a sort of fade sensation. And then once we did that, that improved things. But once we then started the downswing with this left hip back motion and it being rotational, then all of a sudden the club could just exit and continue to move much more on plane in that through swing position, which is absolutely critical for loads of you, that I see. Lots of students all the time that reach out for help for lessons and often standing up, and you've got to understand in the start of the downswing, it's left hip back. And then when you're hitting it, you really want to get that sensation that you're hitting more across the golf ball, almost with an open face. And that's what I mean. If you're a little stuck, okay, and you stand up, that's why the feeling is often going to be, to rectify this kind of problem, is that you're going to have to feel like you're hitting across the ball with an open face to end up actually producing a much more straight shot.